Today we're going to talk about the lower body when we ride. So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way to the top. So the first part of the foot that I believe is the most important because it's the base of your leg is going to be the positioning of the foot. Now, everybody probably has the stitching across the ball of your foot. That is the universal way of saying that is where your stirrup should be aligned with. So, in order to have the correct positioning for this technique that I like to use is to have your stirrup probably half an inch in front of your stitching. So what that does is that forces me to post off my toe or the ball of your foot. So when that happens, that's gonna force my heel to go from a dropped position, which is like right here, to here. There's really not that big of a difference, as well as you probably didn't see a big difference when I adjusted my stirrup from here to here. Now, these are all about the little details, so you're not going to really see that big of a difference in the positioning and that kind of stuff, but you'll understand what I'm saying at the end of the video when we work up to the knee and whatnot, and the heels. So, there's going to be two types of movements in the foot that people will get. They're going to get the kicking, which is when you see the heel dropping, and then you're going to see the pumping, the leg pump, which is when they go back and forth. The heel kick is when the person is letting their heel drop. When you're posting and you're going to be moving around, all your weight is naturally going to be pushing your heels down. Now, you can do that. You can have your heels down without actually trying to have your heels down. Now, what that means is now that when I'm riding and when I'm going about, I'm not actually thinking in my mind, I'm pushing my heels down that way. Because that's when you get the heel kick as well, but you also get the post that is behind the horse. That was always a very big issue with me. If you post off your toe, you're gonna be right along with the horse and you're gonna have a very strong looking post. Now, the second type of movement in the foot is the pump, which is this. The heel stays the same, but the whole foot moves back and forth. That happens when your foot gets too far in front of your knee. Because a good way of checking to see if you're aligned, and this can be hard looking down because of the angle, is to make sure that your toe and your kneecap, the edge of my knee right here, are in a straight line. So once we have that down in the foot, we'll move up to the knee. So a good way to help readjust yourself is just to lift yourself out of the saddle for a moment. And you want to imagine when you're just sitting here, I'm raising my toe, I'm raising my heel and I'm pushing my toe down, even though that's not what it looks like. In my mind, that's what I'm trying to do. And that's gonna take all that energy down there and push it on a diagonal line up that direction. And then that's gonna naturally roll my thighs in, because we've all heard the term roll your thighs in, but if it was just that simple, everybody would have a perfect leg. I know I can't just roll my thighs in and ride and do patterns or canter or anything like that. Some people can, but most can't. I know I'm one of those people. So when you do that and you naturally raise your heel up and you push your toe down like this, you're naturally gonna roll in, and your angle, and I'll exaggerate this motion, you're really gonna make sure that you're like this. This isn't gonna look like this, but I'm just exaggerating to help see it, and pushing all that energy like right into his shoulder right here. So once we have that down, we'll move on to the post. Now, I'm not gonna move because if you're gonna actually wanna try this technique, it's gonna be harder to do it standing still or at a walk compared to if you're trotting or cantering, because it's just like riding a bike. It's gonna be harder to balance on a bike if you're going slow compared to if you're going fast. Same thing with the horse. The energy, the movement is going to be much more difficult doing if you're going slow than fast. So, once we have the positioning in our foot, the knee rolled in, by the positioning in our foot causes our knee to roll in, we'll try post-in. Now, when you post, you want to imagine, now I'm holding on to the mane because I haven't done this since Kansas City. I'm not really grabbing with my knee that hard because it's not sustainable to have a death grip, you know, like this throughout the entire class or just your lesson in general. But because of the angle that I'm at, I don't even have to raise, I don't even have to squeeze with my knee that hard because of the leverage. Right now, I'm totally locked in. My leg is not going, he can do whatever he wants. Now, this is just at the top of my post. Now, nobody is gonna be standing this high when they're posting. No one's top of the post is gonna be this high. But when you're standing straight up like this, it's harder to balance. So, I'll just go through the movement right here. You'll go from here to here. And of course, I'm shaking because I'm a little rusty. But you also want to make sure that what you're doing is putting pressure on the inside of the ball of your foot. Now, you want to make sure that you don't let your heels drop when you're doing this, because then you get this look, which is when my toes are facing out, and it's not a very good look, to say the least. So you want to make sure that you keep that Achilles or calf muscle flexed. You can't really flex at Achilles, but you don't want to let it relax. You don't want to let it stretch down because that's when you get this look. So some of the exercises or ways to help you get this technique down is in the beginning, if you want to try this out, is to go from here in the positioning of your stirrup and just kind of move it forward, just in that position. Now, this does not look good, and you don't want to go into the show ring with this position. However, this is going to force you to post off your toe because it's going to be impossible to push your heels. It's going to be impossible to go back to your old ways and push your heels down because then I let my knee come back and I straighten my leg out. So if I'm in here, I'm gonna post and I'm gonna go like that. I'm gonna slip underneath. So, but if you can see, if I have that really very little foot in the stirrup, and if I post off my toe, it's actually harder doing that. I'm not gonna slide forward. So, those are just a couple ways that I like to ride. You know, everybody has different techniques, but I've done a lot of them, and it took me a very long time to get it down. And this is just what worked for me. So thank you all for watching.